There we go. Hello. I am driving to a thing. Gonna go to the coffee shop and get some much needed work done because usually what happens after, week and a half, 2 weeks on Playa is a lot of stuff stacks up. I have a lot of emails to respond to, getting set up for a gig that's coming up next week and have to make some arrangements for that, some travel arrangements. And today I woke up and it was really hard getting out of bed because it was really overcast. And the overcast really affects me. And I was thinking about doing today's video more about the overcast and like the weather stuff that happens with post-burn blues, but it turns out that's all I have to say about that topic. If it's overcast, it messes with my head quite a bit. Sorry for the shaky cam over here. I'm trying out this first time of talking while driving, because a lot of interesting stuff actually comes out while I'm driving, and every once in a while I'm thinking, I should really set up the phone here and do the thing. But anyway, it's been about a week since we've returned to the default, and you're many of you probably dove right back into it, and the luxury to be able to give yourself a week to decompress and move slowly back into reality. I've certainly been back in reality. It's not like I've just been like laying around, but I've been able to do it more progressively and slowly and easily because I am my own boss, so I could just do that. And it just kind of like hit me today, because I woke up and like today was the day that I felt like my plan was to like really dive back in there and like really, get back to doing like a 5-hour workload kind of thing. And it occurred to me, strangely, that I've actually been kind of doing that the past couple of days. But for some reason, I had told myself that I'm easing back in to work. And because I told myself that, it was easier to get like 5 hours of work done. But today, that I had actually put on the calendar that it's going to be like a really get back to work day, I have like no juice. Took me forever to get out of bed. I feel a little out of it. The overcast, like I said, doesn't help. And there's probably just other energies kind of like moving through my system. One of the things that happens is when I come back to default, I often am like really excited about new things that I want to take on. And as I shared with you in previous videos, this one, the post-burn blues, like hit me the extra hardest. But then I got this like burst of energy for like a couple of days of just a lot of clarity, a lot of great stuff coming out. And it's been really good, which is why I didn't do videos the past day or two. But then today, I think it's the 72-hour thing that I was sharing with you before in a previous video. Come back to the default. Post-burn blues hits you. Why are there not shiny people around me? I'm used to waking up being surrounded by music and happiness and emotionally open, vulnerable people and blue skies. And then like the reality that you're back in your default world hits. You might be in London, you might be in Southern California, you might be in Singapore. You're all over the world, and wherever you are, it's not Black Rock City. And so the reality of that hits you. And then now I think maybe even just like returning to the routine has its own kind of like barrier that we're landing in. I had I think like the most interesting class I ever had when I was in college was called Intercultural Tourism at San Diego State. And we learned about this concept in that happens when you travel to a new place. It's the way like the brain works, psychological. I can't word. You know what I'm saying. But what happens is that when we travel to a new location, at first there's this like excitement about being in this new place, and then once we're there for a little while, some depression can set in because all of our routines are gone, all of the familiar places that we're used to, the tools that we have developed over time in our routines are not available to us. So some depression happens. And then after a while, after a while that eases up again. And you back to kind of like finding new things you enjoy about it. And now this bell curve goes at different speeds for different people. As I shared in a previous video, 72 hours is an energy stream I've noticed about myself. Like things will take 72 hours to set in and change. For you, it might be a month. For some people, it might be a week. My veteran burner elders all told me to not make any challenging, just like any big decisions about life within 30 days of returning to default. So that's something to consider. And I think the same bell curve that I was just describing to you is what I'm experiencing to some extent right now from having returned to default. At first, there was like the little bit of, there was a depression of leaving, of course. And then there was the excitement. Oh, new things. I have elevated my consciousness and I have new ideas and there's things I'm going to do now and all this thing. And that happened for a couple of days. And then now it's kind of like returning to the lull. Anyway, mostly just sharing these things with you in hopes that perhaps if you are experiencing some confusing feelings, you know that you are not alone and that it is totally normal to go through kind of a roller coaster of feelings and emotions when we return from Burning Man. Anyway, I think on the next video I'm going to talk about Playa Romance. I did not have a Playa Romance this year, but it's definitely a thing that is a major part of many of our lives who experience the burn. But for now, just today's thing is just to kind of remind you, like, hey, the body's going through things, energy shifts, ideas, clarity. Give it all time. It'll all get figured out. You don't have to figure it out this red hot second. And we are all just walking each other home. That's it for now. I'm gonna go get some coffee and journal the crap out of this. Ciao.